when they are learning game. That's the main issue they are facing. So now this SP case, this guy with lot of practice and lot of game.
After most powerful CEO, the first Prime Minister, now presenting Deepak, the most proven and female-friendly dating coach in this world, overcoming all odds.
You're an invader. Why don't you go back to India?
And still successful in the West.
So hey guys, hope you're doing good. I'm doing good too. In this video, we'll be talking about Asperger's, or the people who are on spectrum, in context with dating or pickup. Since I'm experiencing and exploring a lot of new things in this area, because this is a very complex topic, this Asperger's or people who are on spectrum, it may happen in future. I will make another video about this topic with updated knowledge. So let's see. But this video I'm making right now is based on the experience I have gathered, the knowledge I have gathered up to now. I have also seen there are so many videos on the internet on Asperger's or people on spectrum, but nobody is able to explain very clearly what is going on behind the scenes. In this video, I will explain you what I have understand after working with students and meeting people in real life, how they behave, who are on spectrum or who are having this Asperger syndrome. So this I will explain you in this video. I have made one video in the past which is hardware issues. I will put the link in the description of the all related videos. You should also watch that video. This video is slightly related to that video also. My knowledge is slightly more refined now, experienced much more cases, and that's why I'm making this video with updated knowledge. Maybe some people, when they watch this video, they will think that I'm a nerd. I'm like some dating nerd who has no idea in real life what's going on. He's just sitting on the internet making some diagrams and everything. He's just a nerd, but this is not true. Because I understand the things much more deeper level, I able to make a new seduction system, and right now I have time, but soon I'll be very much busy in when the my product dating in fields domination going to release soon. When the product will release, then I will be working on some other stuff, and then I may not be having that much time in making these type of videos, because these video takes lot of thinking. These videos are not easy to make, so that's why right now I have a bit time, so I'm making this video now, because I know in later time I'm not going to have that much time in focusing these kind of content. Before we start, one disclaimer I want to give you, that I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm a dating coach. So view this video in context that I'm a dating coach. I'm not a certified clinical psychiatrist. So view this video with that thing in your mind. One thing I want to also make it very clear, that I don't label anyone. For example, you are coming to me on one-on-one coaching, some students coming, I'm meeting them, or on the Skype training, Skype calls. I don't label anyone that if somebody is suffering from Asperger's or autism or something like that. But it is very important for me to understand the person who I'm talking, who I'm my students, my clients, because even if for example you are coming to me and I don't know that what is going on, if you're dealing with some issue, maybe you don't talk to me about it, but I'm trying to tell you something and we are not able to find the solution, then it is important for me that, okay, first I understand the subject, I understand the student, understand the client properly, with full empathy. Okay, these are the, like, issues. This is his personality. These are the, like, things what he's dealing with, the way he speaks, the what is his background, what is like, the background, what is, how is this, like, how he is socially. And based on that, I keep the notes in my mind, and then I start my training, or something like this, according the very tailored to the student. But I will never ever talk to any of my students that you are dealing with this thing, you are dealing with this thing, you are dealing with Asperger's, you are dealing with narcissism. Yeah, I don't talk about this thing. I just keep it to myself. But if I'm understanding my subject, my student much better, I can give a better solution. That's why I bring really good success to my students also. This Asperger, or the people who on autism spectrum disorder, in context with dating and pickup. Since it is a dating channel, I will be more or less focusing, when I'm making a topic, then it is more or less related with dating and pickup. That's why. So how they develop the symptoms? So this is how I see, based on, like, the birth, maybe the genetical factor is involving the Asperger's or autism spectrum disorder. It can happen by birth. Then the characteristics may develop how they grown up, the parenting, how they were, like, grown up, what were their parents like, now how they are growing up. And then other factor are, like, in the environment they are growing up, in my views. So these are the few factors also that can they are responsible in developing certain kind of characteristics in these type of people, in Asperger's, or the people who are on spectrum. The different kind of characteristic they can develop according to, like, like the symptoms they have, like, through birth, and then how they are growing up, parenting and the environment they grow up. You can also say in the environment they grow up, how they are socially interacting with each other, the children, and then based on that, the symptoms, the characteristics developed. So I'm just touching this part. I'm not going to into detail now in this part. Now we will be more focusing on the characteristics and what are the responsible characteristics when it comes to dating, because that is our main, like, issue. So these are the three people I'm taking. Three people, they are like AS1, Asperger 1, Asperger 2, and Asperger 3. So what is interesting thing I have seen, not every Asperger people have the same characteristics. In my experience, I have seen the people who are dealing with these kind of issues, they may have different characteristics. I don't know how they develop different characteristics based on the environment, or which part of the brain, like, activate, or working more or working less. Based on that, they're like maybe a lot of complex issues. I think even the doctor scientists have not able to this topic is still in discovery mode. People have not able to find a concrete solution. So but definitely they have different characteristics. So some characteristics will be common, and some characteristics are not common. So as I have explained you, in Asperger syndrome, or people who are on spectrum, they can have a variable different characteristics, and some characteristics can match and some cannot match. Based on my experience, I have seen the people and with my students also. For example, here we are taking, like, this is the AS1, Asperger syndrome 1, Asperger syndrome 2, AS2 and AS3, and these are, like, so it can happen that, for example, AS1, this is very interesting, that maybe this guy don't get any depression. This guy is not susceptible to depression. Why it happens like this, I cannot give you answer, but this is something like, some guys on Asperger's, they don't feel depression. Some guys, they have depression. For example, AS3, we say like, this guy's susceptible to depression. Some guys, for example, this is AS2, we say like he has average intelligence, he has an average intelligence, and AS1 has a high intelligence. This has a very high intelligence. I have seen like guys with high intelligence who are on Asperger's with some different other characteristics, but I have also seen the guys in Asperger's who have average intelligence, something like this, average intelligence. Some guys I have seen, they are very focused. This is very interesting. So for example, we say AS1, this is very focused person, but another Asperger guy, AS2 for example, maybe he is not focused person, he is not very focused kind of person, who getting distracted from small things and not able to focus on one thing and work on it, something like this I have seen also. Other things I have seen, for example, it can happen like now they have like, like two people have the same kind of symptoms. For example, it may happen that like, AS1 and AS3 here, they are dealing with for example, anxiety. They have this anxiety, but this AS2 has no anxiety, for example. They are dealing with anxiety. It may happen like AS3 and AS2 is socially awkward. This can be he is socially awkward, and AS1 maybe he learned, he grown up in such a way with a proper if we see here this his parenting is in such a way that our environment they grow up in such a way that AS1 is not socially awkward. It can happen. Oh, sorry, here it's not socially awkward. Only AS2 and AS3 is socially awkward. But it is very interesting. I have seen one common thing they may have. In getting difficulty is like which is different than normal people is like, first is like they have a trouble in reading emotions and expressions. They're not able to read that emotion expressions properly. I will explain you how it happens, why it happens, and they process their emotions differently than normal people. They process their emotions differently than normal people. This is very important. I don't want to label you guys. Again, I told you this is very, very sensitive and very, very like, I'm taking very precautions when I'm making this video. This is very sensitive topic. That I don't label anyone who comes to me like as a student or want to learn game and improve their dating skills, pickup skills, or getting results in dating life. Even if they have or not have, I don't talk about it to them. I don't really talk about it to them. I just see like how they are reacting to the girls, how they are talking to me, and then listen to their background, their backstory, and their how they're socially like talking to other people, and I get the idea like what are the things he's facing with, and how now I have to deal with him. This is very important, because if I'm a clueless, blindly like just having my system and just forcing my system to his throat again and again and again, and maybe he's dealing with some other issues, then it's not gonna work. Maybe I need to have a different approach to deal with that person. So he needs to be treated in a different way. The one guy who is a normal, then I see, okay, it's normal, I treat him in a different way. Other guy, I treat him in a different way. That's why I will to bring results. So I'm saying it again, I don't label anyone like if somebody is dealing with these issues, but it is very important for any dating coach, I mean not for me, for any dating coach to understand what are the issues the student have, what are the because not a one teaching method is valid for everyone. You need to do some changes according to the student or the client you are dealing with. But again, I'm repeating it, I do not label anyone if somebody is suffering with these kind of issues. And even if I figure it out, like there is something wrong, I don't talk about it. I don't label to them. I don't tell them that, like, you are suffering with this thing, because that is not my job. That is job of a psychiatrist. But I need to have that psychiatrist level understanding to bring my students the best results. I have to understand, I have to I have to have the knowledge of good game, understanding the, good game, human behavior. At the same time, I have the good understanding, like, with whom I'm dealing with, so that I can give him the best results. So yeah. So this is like what I've seen. So this is what they have, the issue. Like this can be like AS1, AS2 and AS3. They have the most common thing I've seen in the people who are dealing with Asperger's, or like who are on the spectrum, who come to me. They process emotions differently. They process emotion differently, and they have a bit problem in reading girls' emotions when they're talking to them. It can be achieved it depends on what is the severity of they are on the spectrum. This is something I have seen, like, in them. And one thing is interesting is that, for example, many things they take it literally, because, for example, they will not able to understand the joke. Sometimes I remember there was one incident. I was teaching an in-ear coaching to a student, and he was just keep on going, and I already saw that, like, the girl is not comfortable. Girl is not comfortable with my student, and but he was just keep on, like, speaking with her, and I said, like, listen, the girl is annoyed, like, right now. It's better that we leave and, like, go to the another, like, set on another interaction. Then he said, like, he listened to me, and then he asked the girl, he asked the girl, like, are you annoyed when I'm talking to you? And the girl, like, with an irony, no, I'm not annoyed. I'm not annoyed. In irony, she said that, like, no, it's all good, I'm not annoyed. You understand? But he took it as a literally. He didn't able to read her emotions, and he said to me in the like, in ear coaching, he said to me that like, no, on the WhatsApp, he said to me, no, after coaching finished, after that interaction finished, he came to me. He said that I asked to her, and she said that she is not annoyed. So, Deepak, you are wrong. She was not annoyed. And I was shaking my head a bit, like, I was thinking how to deal with him. Like, it is not that easy situation for me in that way, because he was taking things very literally. We did find a solution. He is successful. He has, I will not tell you who is that guy. He has a testimonial also. He's getting late, so everything is good now. But these are the issues I face. So they were taking things literally. So that can also happen because they're not able to read emotions. Why it happens? Because they're not able to read emotions properly. So when something is said in an irony form, they are not able to get it, and they just take it literally. And how they process the emotions, they are different than normal people. That is also very, very interesting thing, So you understand. So in Asperger's, people or people who are on spectrum, they can have characteristics which are like, common, which can be common and which can be unique it is depends on the, like, you know, how they grown up, how it was, what was the severity of the spectrum, and how their, like, parenting was, also social situation, lot of things. Other characteristics they may have is, for example, they can have, like, you know, the social situation can be confusing again, like, because when it is very not easy to read emotions, then they can take things literally, and then sometimes social situation can become awkward to them. What else I have written? They have problem in doing small talks. Making small talks, they can have problem in making small talks. They have problem in imagination, like imagining something. They can have problem. They are good in picking up facts and details, like small facts, small things. They can good in picking up. So, like, one of the interesting thing, what they may have, like, you know, characteristic which is not a good characteristic. They are not able to feel how other person feel, because they are processing emotions differently. So it may happen that they are not able to feel how other person feel. I'm not saying like every case, in many cases. So they don't know when to switch on the empathy, when the empathy should work. Sometimes they can be rude, you know, and that's why sometimes these people can be rude. So that this is also one of the like, you know, characteristics they have. I'm not saying like everyone they can have, but some people definitely, they are like hyper focused for a long time. That is definitely I've seen definitely. I meet some guys, they are like, who are on the 100, they are 100% on the spectrum. Actually they told me that they are not on spectrum. These guys are not my students, because they are like more like a friend kind of thing. So they told me that they are not on the spectrum, because I was suspicious that, because, and then he was like, said like, no, I'm not on spectrum. But when I see now the characteristic, I understand this topic much more detail, so I can clearly say that, like, you know, this guy was very high on spectrum, even very high on spectrum autism. He was very hyper focused. He was just like, when he start going to work, he just keep on working non-stop. So that is something, that emotions of, you know, stress or depression is not there. He just keep on going. That is something he had. But then another guy I have also seen, like, he was not very hyper focused. He was definitely on Asperger. He was not on hyper focused, but they both have the same problem, reading emotions. They both have 100%. They have the same issue. They were not able to read emotions, and they process their emotion differently. They have problem in making friends. They definitely have problems in making friends. Even if they make friends, they have a like more shallow connection, not very deeper connection. I cannot say like for every guy on Asperger's they have this issue. I cannot 100% say this thing, but normally the guys who are coming, the students who are coming, the guys who are coming in my coaching, in that situation I have seen, because when I meet people, I'm not a like clinical psychiatrist. I meet people who are struggling in their dating life. So according to that context, I'm speaking. I'm not a like general like clinical psychiatrist or something like that. So they have problem in making friends. They have again, I told you, like, you know, they can be rude because they see literally. They don't understand irony. You just like, you know, so this is something, something social in situations can be learned though. It is interesting, like I'm not going to, they may develop based on the upbringing, it is still very complex, based on the environment, upbringing, and genetics also. on the based on these things also, they may develop antisocial personality traits. For example, I'm saying may, not everyone, but we are not talking about, we will not discuss that traits in this video, like psychopathic, antisocial personality traits, sociopathic traits, but like sociopathic traits or antisocial personality traits, narcissism, or sociopathic traits can be developed in normal person if the environment is they're growing up is influencing. You have to watch the other video about depression I made. In that video you will understand the part 1 part 2 series. The environment can be also like, can cause like to develop these traits for normal people also, but maybe somebody who on the SP, they developed in a very different way. I cannot exactly say what will be the factors based on all these. They're like two complex things, but we are not touching any kind of this narcissism, psychopathy or sociopathy stuff in this video. We are just focusing on this, Asperger syndrome and context with dating and how it happens, and then we look like, we will find if we find some solutions also in that situation. So these are the two cases I have taken. This is the, again, like, if you see the depression video, then I have explained, like, this is like, for example, this is the brain, this is the SP guy, this is the normal guy, this is the outer layer, and this is the inner, where like emotional response develops. Here the normal guy, here the Asperger guy. So this is how I see some. So with Asperger's, it is very interesting. In SPK, this is the normal, So emotions, something. We are not discussing right now depression, so we will not be. We are just focusing on the emotion processing. In the depression video, you will see slightly difference. Like, there is some this. Emotional numbness I was explaining, here I will not explain you that part. So we were just like, how the processing the emotions happens. So this is the like normal case. So the emotion goes, and then like, response or something like this, emotion goes, and then like, response, something like this, or emotional response. Here goes emotions, and then response come. Now it that is very interesting based on my understanding of the brain external situation. This is the SP case. So there is some kind of extra something in the brain which is like this. So when the emotion goes here, in the case of Asperger, we can make it a different color so that it will be much more interesting for us. Let's see, change the color. Yellow color is good. Yellow now, yes. So here the emotion goes, for example, and here, for example, something, some processing happens, and the emotions is like differently processed in his brain compared to this person, so here, and then the response will be developed according to that. Is the same thing, like again emotion goes, and then due to this some issues here, which is it should be normal, but and then the response is a bit different, like going to the processing response will be different. So this is how I see they are processing. They do have emotions. In some cases they don't have less emotion. They have less emotions, but they do have emotions because they are suffering with. There's some Asperger's people are suffering with depressions also. It is interesting. For example, in a normal conversation is going on, some emotions can definitely be processed like, straightly. There is not too much going on, response output, but maybe some complex issue, some complex situation, they process in a different way here, you know, and then response will be different coming out. And sometimes here is the going emotions, maybe they will not even process it, and there will be no response for it. They won't be responding to that. Some external factor, they won't respond that strongly compared to emotional responsive or normal emotional people. Here emotions goes, for example, it reaches, but there will be no response. Actually, there is no response. They are just like this. So they are processing emotions differently compared to normal emotional people. In case of people who are on spectrum, who are on autism spectrum disorder, or who are like Asperger is the same thing, so this is something very interesting, because in my understanding, they process emotions differently. In some situations, like external social situations, they don't have even emotional response. So something happens, emotion goes inside, like external situation goes inside, and they don't even process what happens, and they don't respond to it. But sometimes it can also happen, I think, when it comes to like depression. So something happens like this, and that emotions goes even more strongly inside, like, then more strongly and then a strong response sometimes comes. And so more amplified response is coming. So some spurgy people are very impulsive. It can happen like in normal situation, like for example, for normal person, then emotion goes and then normal response, and then for spurgy, in some certain situation, a normal emotion goes, and then it is somehow amplified due to this in the brain processing, and then it's like a very amplified response, which is like a, what we say, like over exaggerating something. Response comes. In some situations it can also happen to them, and also in certain, these are very variable characteristics. Not everybody is having this all characteristics. So some are just normal, some are not that impulsive, and some are very, very impulsive. Some get like angry really quick, some get depression, some don't, some are not able in like feeling any depression. That's why this topic is this thing is very, very complex. But definitely the processing of emotions is different, slightly different, based on, I guess, based on the severity of, on the spectrum. They process the emotions differently. So now we get like when somebody is coming in game, and want to learn game in normal case and a spurgy case. So what happens? That is very interesting thing. First we discuss normal case. So guys, if you're enjoying this video so far, then like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell button. That is very, very important. It keeps me motivated to produce really good content. Also, dating infield domination is coming soon. So keep in touch and stay subscribed. You are going to get informed on this channel pretty soon. the product of the century, the dating product of the century is coming soon. So first we say when the normal guy is coming in learning game, yeah, coming in learning game, he has a normal emotions. So this is the girl, this is the girl, this is the guy, and this is normal case. So imagine this guy is going and talking to girl, but he's a beginner. He has no idea of social interaction. So what we say here in this case is, with lot of practice, we learn the social situation, and then we improve our social calibration, social intelligence. For example, my case, when I came to Europe, I was socially awkward even in India because I didn't have too much. So I'm an introvert and didn't have too much interaction with people in India even, and in Europe it was even more amplified. But with the time I was talking to people and calibrated. I did mistakes. I remember I was really socially awkward, but I did a lot of mistakes, and I learned from them and understand, like, reading emotions, empathy, and I made it to work out. So now I explain you, like, in by graphs, like how the developing is going on. So this guy is beginner. So he is talking to this girl. For example, he talked to this girl, and the girl have some emotional response, and then she says something, something like this. She says, he process it, it goes, and so further in the talking, he says something, and girl has a very response, maybe some emotional response, which is non-verbal. He is not able to pick up. He pick up maybe wrongly. He's picking up maybe wrongly. He's wrongly, and then he says something, differently, and then the girl don't understand it differently. Her response was different, but his answer was different. I'm trying to explain you, and she says something, he's still not able to pick up, and so this is and he says something, she can't able to pick up, then she says something, he is not picking up the emotional behavior, and like they are very socially awkward, they are not picking up what I want to say. In the beginners level, they are not able to pick up these these social cues, what she's how she's behaving, what we say, this emotional responses. It can be verbal or non-verbal, facial expression, these can be verbal or non-verbal responses. No experience, no experience in social interaction. It may also happen that this guy his responses are also not appropriate for this girl. They are not appropriate. His responses, what the responses he is giving, are not appropriate, in for this girl. So what we say, this is like when you are coming as a new person, and you just you're socially uncalibrated kind of person, but you are normal use case, you are normal person, you have no experience, you are just like work hard in your life, and you are still socially awkward. You're not spurgy, but you are still socially awkward because you don't have any experience in social interaction, talking to girls. And then of course, when you're not having experience, what the girl is saying, how you should behave, how you should interact, you don't have an experience, you are still making mistakes in the beginner, and then interaction just like lost, it just don't work out. So this is like, for example, in a normal use case happens. So this guy, for now, the normal guy, this normal use case, this guy is getting after experience, fairly good experience in like social interactions. He says something, interaction is going, response, and then response is coming, and then coming, it's more or less is working now. Yeah, So this guy is has done practice, and he's able to pick the emotional response of this girl. And we say, like, after the experience, when he was beginners, he was not able to do it. With the game, with the experience, he do it really good. So this is a, like, what we say, the development process of a, based on like how much practice he do, based on how much girls he talk to, how much practice he do, what kind of training he's getting. He can be really good in a short amount of time, or it may take a bit longer time based on SMV, because it may happen that this guy has a fairly very good SMV, and then he's always getting a really good response from the girl, and then he can learn to pick up this response quickly and then get good really quick. Maybe some guy have a bit slightly different SMV. The girl is not giving him favorable positive responses, and then it will take time for him to pick up, and he has to be more like what we say, more good in game, and like more really good in picking up responses, really good in, like, calibrating, and like, and also, like, able to create some different type of responses from the girl if the girl is not able to get the responses by herself, like he able to, that we say it's like the game thing. I don't want to make it too complex, but it is like the game thing, based on the SMV level, the level of game you need. But here in this case, we say, like, after learning game, after learning, in the normal case, he able to fairly able to read the emotional responses from the girl, and able to, understand the social situation and respond, and, like, get the things done. Now when the SP people come, that is very interesting here. So in case of like Asperger case, this is the SP case, this is the beginners. So this is, for example, this guy come and want to learn the pickup game, like, seduction game. He want to learn the guy, and he's talking to a girl. But if you see, like, the processing emotion are different, very different actually. So the emotion goes, and maybe like this emotion goes straight to him. So some emotions he can process like normally maybe, and some emotions are differently processed, and some emotions, some external situation, like emotion, like factors, they are not even processed, like, he's not generating any, response for this thing, for example, is not even generating. So we see, so in Asperger case here, if we see here, you see the some are not even this emotion, for example, he's not even generating responses, and some are very highly impulsive responses, and some are like normal, emotional responses. So these are the Asperger case. So now, for example, this is a beginner's use case. This is a beginner case, for example. So beginner case having the same issues like the beginner case of normal use case. So plus this issue, the response, so he will have, like, double problem. So as a beginner, he just say something, she say, and he is not able to pick up response. He's not able to pick up response. He says something, she says something, the beginner difficulty level, he's not able to pick up response. So we say or wrong response or something, like beginner's level difficulty, he's facing the same. So the conversation is, like we say, not going anywhere, like the same, or like, same or more compared to a normal case in Asperger case. Now we say, even if this guy is having a lot of, like, work, he's learning the game, and, like, going out and approaching girls. So after doing lot of practice, what can start to happen in that case, that is more interesting, because in the beginner, even me having the same issues like this, like this. I'm not able to read the girl's emotions, responses. I'm not aware of social situations. That is for everyone. If anyone who is starting the game, normal case or Asperger case or any case. But in SP case, now we say this guy has done a lot of approaches, lot of game. So now this guy's experience, he has this issue with this emotions, this issue we see that compared to say Asperger or the people who are on the spectrum, SP case. This guy is experienced, now even if he's experienced, the problem he may face here is this. He is talking to a girl. Maybe in the first time she gave a response, is going there, and now he able to talk the second time. The girl is giving the response. We say like this is going like this, and then this is going like this, this is going like this, and now the girl is giving some response, and he is not able to pick up this response, and he's saying something like some different answer. He's saying something. The girl, he's saying something, or his something happens, and girl start to see that some awkwardness is coming, because he's not able to read the responses properly. He's not able to read these responses. The girl say something, or let's try, and then maybe it may happen that he's not able to read that emotional response. It is not even reaching there, and then he said something. It's going, and again, like, what's going on here? She's not able to get it, like she's a bit confused, like, something like this, some social awkward situation. And these responses, this is going to happen, in her mind, like what is going on, like, like when she is talking to an SP guy, why like what is going on here is that also, one way to explain is that this guy is thinking, most probably, then this girl thinks like him. This girl think like him. I guess this is like, because they don't know, like the people process emotions in a different way. Normal people, they have no experience. So he is thinking that he is doing it right, and there is a miscommunication is going on, and that's like, something Asperger people have issue in like, in communicating. This is how I see. So in a clear way, I explain like this. For example, let's make another thing. So you see here, processing emotions here, maybe one is correct, one is not even reaching. So this is the processing emotions going on. So from childhood he learned like this, processing emotions like this. Yeah. So and this is like, for example, this is the girl, like, response and going on like this. We can make it like this. And the girl, for example, is a normal case scenario where, like, going in, there is no, like, kind of in the brain kind of issues, and the processing and emotions normal. But this guy thinks, this girl is thinking, this SP guy is thinking, this girl is not is processing emotion is not in this way, but in this way, like him, that people process him because he has never seen in another way. So when this kind of things happens in the reality, it just tough for him to social. This kind of things is tough, for him to understand. So this is what I see in SP case, Asperger cases, or the people who are on spectrum, who are having problem in reading social situations and all, because they are processing emotions in a very different ways, not even reaching it. Then they're processing emotion in very different ways. And then when a normal situation, people come, like girl come in a way where she processes emotion in a normal way, but they think that they process emotions like them, and it is very hard for them to communicate in this situation. It just don't work out properly, and they always have a problem in they think in this way, and then that's the main issue they have, when they are communicating, with when they are learning game. That's the main issue they are facing. So now this SP case, this guy with lot of practice and lot of game, he able to communicate. He's somehow able to make it a good, able to make it, we say, and then he have sex with her, and he has sex with her, he able to sleep with her. Now what may happen, in some situation, because you can learn to emulate, so what we say, you can learn some of this behavior. They can learn with practice, they can learn this behavior and can get successful in sleeping with the girl. It can happen. It requires some practice and game. It can happen. It's not like it cannot happen. What the problem they may face will be in that is very interesting. In for example, after sex, we say, let me finish first. So you say, here, for example, this SP person, he able to have sex with this girl. He learned the game. This SP guy, he sleeps with this girl, have sex with her. Now they are dating. Now the issue may happen is that sex, we say, day to day life. The big issue they will face is he's processing emotions. Again, we saw in a different way. Some emotions he will not, some will come, but some will just not come, or some will come differently. And she is processing emotion in a normal way. So when they are when the interaction start, day to day life, after sex, day to day life start, in the relation, then when the interaction start, it is not going to work properly, because of it can happen that because he learned the game, and he able to learn some responses and everything, and able to sleep with her, and the girl not able to get it with whom she is dealing. But when a normal relationship starts, then the communication start between this guy and this girl, this guy and this girl, and then something going on, and she's not going on, what's going on here, and this communication is not going really good. She's completely and he's also what's going on, they don't know. And so they have, because the true personality come out, because they cannot able to hide in a real relation. Sometimes it is very hard to hide, like it is very hard to hide, like some issues, some emotional, some true personality of a person. Oh, sorry. In a relationship, sometimes it is very hard to hide the true personality of a person. So some sooner or later she will see true personality. Sooner or later she will see the true personality of this person, and what will happen is, like, she don't know what's going on, but she will say, like, I'm not able to connect, I'm not feeling emotionally connected. These kind of issue come, and like and then break up and all the stuff. I'm just explaining you for solution, for a very solid solution. I have to still research. We are going in now relationship part, because we can still make it to, like, to get laid by learning good game. Here, for example, game can get him, like, laid, get him laid, but still there can be an issue when it comes to day-to-day life, after sex. When it comes to relationship, then it can happen that, because you just cannot game all the time, because sometimes you adopt your behavior, and then the girl will still sleep with you because she don't know your true personality. In this case, for example, like how you behave, and then after sex, the true personality come out sometimes in a relationship, when the relationship starts, and then maybe you behaving some, you're showing some spectrum characteristics which she didn't able to experience when she was about to sleep with you. But now in day-to-day life, this spectrum disorder, autism spectrum disorder, or Asperger characteristics come. She want to share something with you, and you act in a very, like, cold manner. Something happened, she explaining some very deep story, true story, something like, some emotional problem, and you are not able to emotionally respond because you're not able to read her emotion. And you're responding in a cold way, but in that situation you have to respond in a different way. That is the issue can happen when it comes to relationship. I made this, that's why I made that video, that the hardware and hardware, like, problems. But now I can make the things much more clearer. Maybe in 2-3 years from now, I can make it even more clear for you. So now one solution, what can happen, like, again, like, when it comes to sleeping with the girl, game, what we say game, then Deepak, I'm the only solution. There is no one who can teach you that level of game. Either it's normal case or Asperger case or any case kind of thing. I'm not labeling you, but I have the solution. I can teach you. So it's not an issue. So game can get you laid, definitely. That is definitely possible. Now when it comes to relationship, there still can be issue happen. So now what can be the solution? One solution can be is, like, for example, when you're going to relationship. So when you're, like, going to relationship, so one good game is, like, to make you can sleep with her. But in a relationship, so for example, we can have some other factors involved that can keep this girl, even if there is not too much emotional connection going on. not too much. There is some external things we can be used to keep the girl. Um, like for example, it now depends on if the, like, what, like for example, what we say. So one is, like for example, lower your filter, like, which can, if the girl is, like, you're going, when it comes to relationship, you're not going like very like good looking girl, for example, then it, like, more the good looking the girl you're going, more she has options and more she's demanding, lot of things and emotional support and all these things. Otherwise she can get that emotional things, support from someone else, and then she go with him. So maybe lower your and whatever your looks are, you lower your filter with the girl, and upgrade you upgrade your money part, your status part, which is like, some external factor which is keeping her inside with you. Even if there is no connection, she is still, like, in that relationship with you, because she has, like, you have, like, you can provide like good money and good status, something like this. Other factors, for example, let's make, in the next slide, travel to different countries, and getting girls there, and maybe the social condition in that countries is poor, and in that way also they can have a girl in that countries, for example, as South America, Southeast Asia, Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, these places, Puerto Rico, or you have, like, Thailand, Philippines, and Cambodia, Jakarta, Southeast Asia countries, and all these places, that can also be an option in that, because the girls, if you see this is the issue is coming. If this is the issue is coming, then some external factor we are looking for, like, what can be done. Definitely, like, if you are a, these things, like, you can also, again, I told you, upgrading your money and status is definitely can help in that situation. Game part, we can say, we are talking about here, relations we are talking about. Game is, still can be, like, improved in the sense, like, if you're able to understand, like, this girl is differently, like, behaving. You consciously understand this girl is differently behaving, the processing emotion compared to me, and if some issue is having, then she has some issue, she want to connect. Even if you are not feeling connected, then you have to act that you are connecting with her or something like that in a relationship. If you are not, like, super rich or super high status or something like that, because the game is about you're getting the girl without money and status. Now, when you're getting the girl without money and status, then you have to have the game. When it comes to game, then there is also an emotional connection, because the girl is able to enjoy that emotional connection with you, intimacy, emotional connection with you. So it's not like you just fuck the girl and there is no emotional connection, and then you just want to keep the girl, because if there is no emotional connection, then there need to be something else to compensate. And in Asperger people, that can be an issue. That building an emotional connection with the partner, that can be an issue. So the compensating factor is also, again, like traveling to lower level countries. If you're a first world country, like guy, Westerner, one option, or like in a Western guy, then you can travel to a low second world country and getting the girl there. You don't need to focus too much on on this part, on this part, because because your natural status let's see here, because the natural status, your natural status, which say you're coming from the first world country going to third world country or second world country, your natural status is more than enough in that, to keep the girl in your life, something like this. If you're in first world country, then focus on the money and status also, like, status is going to be very tough, but money part can definitely help. You can still learn game, you can still master the game, but it takes some practice and understanding. You can still get it done, but there can be this issue can happen that this emotional connections sometimes lack, and then what's going on, so this issue can happen. But when you're consciously working on your game, then somehow you're able to solve this issue also. So this is a very complex topic. I have not seen anyone in this this community, even on the we say clinical psychiatrists or any lot of YouTube channel who are talking about it. I think I have able to explain it in a clear way, what's going on with the mind of the SP or spectrum guys. I feel empathic to them. I really, after seeing the situation earlier days, I was also angry, when they were, sometimes I met these guys and they act very very rude way, and now I understand why it is happening, what is happening, why it is happening. So I just let it, I don't really get angry, and I understand that these people suffer a lot when it comes to relationship. I do feel empathic to them, and but that's how it is, that's how life is. So one thing is that in a relationship there are some workaround you can do, because in some Asperger cases, the way the brain is wired, the emotion processing is very differently compared to a normal person. So with some workaround, you can still maintain relationship. It is not impossible. It is definitely possible. Plus the other factors I told you, more that leverage you have, you can still keep the person in relationship. That is also possible. But game and these some small workaround, you can keep the relationship. There is not, it's not completely, I don't want to make you disappoint that there is no solution. Definitely there is a solution. There is a ray of light, don't worry. So with the game, practice game, that's the first step. Practice game. When you practice game, then you are learning these social behaviors, and adapting to it. And then when you're going in a relationship, then there are still some workaround, it can be done. Game part will definitely help you in reading her emotions, and you can still be very successful in your dating life, in relationship life also. So you don't need to worry about, you have to work slightly more. In one way, it is one thing, one good characteristics of many as people on spectrum I have seen, they don't get tired, so they can definitely outgrind normal in some cases, not everyone. Many as Asperger or spectrum cases can outgrind normal people. So when it comes to learning game, they can practice much more compared to a normal guy, because the emotion of tiredness maybe is not processing. If we see here, emotion, we say this is not even processing. Tiredness, this tiredness emotion is not even processing. So they just keep on going unless they completely empty of energy. It's not even processed in some cases, so they can be really grind very a lot. That is very interesting thing. Not with everyone, not with all SP cases, but in many SP cases, this is I have seen. In students I have also seen. This is something very interesting. So they can definitely learn game with sheer amount of practice. They can just get it still things done. So yeah, you don't need to disappoint. Everything is fine. You can still get successful in your dating life, in your relationship life, and I'm also here to help you and give you the best advice and helping you in achieving your goals in your dating life and make you happy. So that's what I want to say in this video. If you are enjoying this video, you should like it and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button also, and that is very important so that I can make really good content in coming future also for you guys. And again, we are working hard on dating in fields domination, and that's gonna be an epic product. It's gonna be the best product of this century, I guarantee. It is impossible for anyone to make something like this in this world. I can challenge anyone 100%. So that product you're gonna like it. It's gonna coming soon. It's gonna come soon. And stay subscribed, stay in touch with me, and we see you in the next video. Take care. Bye. Also guys, don't forget to watch the playlist Rock Solid Infield on this channel, where I'm doing live flirt, picking up girls in front of camera, showing top level pickup and attraction skills. Also don't forget to watch student transformation and testimonials, where I'm teaching my students, showing full documentaries, student success and their testimonials also.